Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. So we'll be listening to the rest of Lillian's story, which was done by Moge, and it's still fun. It was a very juicy conversation. She shares different stories, different experiences, and I know you enjoy it as much as I did while editing. So if you haven't subscribed up, please consider subscribing on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and other places podcasts are available. Then check out the show notes for links you may find useful, including our Discord server. Would love to have you there. So now, let's go and listen to the rest of Lillian's story.
Yeah. So, how about, heaven and hell? Growing up, if you sin, you're going to hell. I know, like nowadays, people are trying to say hell does not exist and hell can come. I don't even
the metaphor.
Exactly. I don't even care about having such conversations because even if it's a metaphor, it's still a fucked up metaphor. But how did you kind of let go of the fear of hell, or how do you embrace the possibility of heaven not existing?
Okay, so I said to answer this question about like how I got over the fear of hell, I have to take things back to when I was much younger.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, when I started thinking and questioning a lot of things that just seemed very things that were not ideal. And the threat of hell, especially for Pentecostals, it's a big thing in the church. It's what keeps people involved. It's what keeps people, I don't know, I feel like chains is the best way to tell me, because you're so scared of eternity in a pit of burning flames. But this is why I find it so upsetting. I find a lot of things upsetting, but I was traumatized.
Yeah.
The thing about trauma is you don't realize it until now that we're much older, we're looking back.
Exactly. And you're older. Yeah.
And I'm you people had no business telling a child this, because I remember for much of my younger years, oh my God, am I tearing up?
Oh.
Well, and this thing, I don't know, it depends on different denominations of faith, but Christianity, Christians put a lot of they hold dreams as very important. They put a lot of meaning in dreams.
Yeah.
And so you grow up, you ask questions, they tell you don't ask questions, it's the devil trying to use you. And then I would have nightmares nightly about falling into a pit of fire. I was a child, Moge, and I would wake up and I go to my mother and I'm I had this dream and I'm expecting comfort, and it's oh, this is even more reason why you shouldn't be entertaining all these thoughts. This is God trying to tell you something. This is God trying to warn you. And so it's something that influenced how interested or how dedicated I was at trying to pretend. I was trying to force it. I was trying to oh no, whatever doubts you have, whatever questions, push them down and accept this. Something is wrong with you. You have to try harder. You have to try harder as being a Christian. You have to try harder as being a child of God. But where I decided to just let go of that fear was because this is the thing, as much as I started one of the criticisms that I had against the Christian faith, even as a child, was the fact that you could be a good person, you could be good to the poor, you could be kind to your neighbors, you could love people, and you could generally be a good person by the standard that people set for what is good, right?
Yeah.
And then simply because you do not accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you would go to hell. It made zero sense to me. It made I would have this conversation with my mother. We had too many arguments to count, but she was you can't use logic to understand the word of God. I'm but I have to. This doesn't make sense. I would always ask him why. How does that make sense? How can you see someone that never hurt anybody, never did anything wrong to anyone, live their life to the best standard you could set for a human being, but then they don't say those words because it's always, you have to make this confession. You have to say, I accept Jesus into my life. But they don't say that and they go to hell. But someone could literally be a rapist, a killer, a murderer. Like they could do all the evil wrongs and then they would just utter, I confess, I confess my sins and I accept Jesus into my life. And then they would, you get an automatic. Like to me, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. So at that point, I was already like, so when I finally was able to let go of hell was when I was like, do you know what? I don't think heaven would even be fun. Because what is the Bible saying about heaven? There are so many passages I talk about, but one that strikes me is how heaven is like there would be no paradise actually. Like the book of Revelation is complicated because there's like, let me just say the entire thing reads like an MCU movie. Like it reads like a superhero movie because like, there'll be the rapture and then everybody will be flexing in heaven, but like God will still give the ones on earth a chance to sin out. Like he will torment them for how many years? Is it a 7-year tribulation or whatever? Then he will send someone to come down and still preach to them. And if they do not after all the suffering, they still don't learn their lesson and they don't accept Christ, there'll be this final war. It's not like this final war between the bad guy and the good guy. So then I was like, you know what? This picture of heaven you are painted of like all of us just singing hallelujah forever, like I would get tired. Like that's not the ideal. That's not my idea of enjoyment. And I don't think heaven will be fun because like the people I see around me, people who claim to be the ideal candidates for heaven, I do not like them very much. Now imagine spending eternity with these people. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let me be in hell with the cool people. And there was a shift. It was a gradual shift, but it's one of the things that influenced me. Like, yeah, I don't think people that will be in hell will be terrible people. I feel like they'll be my people. So I really
of course, yeah.
Like at this point you can't threaten me anymore. Oh, you go to hell. Fine. I don't even believe there's a hell, but if there is, fine. Like, I'm not, if this is what it takes for me to go to heaven with you guys, yeah, count me out. That was it. And I had a conversation very recently with a friend. He's like the only male atheist in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I the only one like I consider sensible enough to call a friend. And then he posted something on his status and it was like, that someone tried to like preach to him in school, like he was walking to the hostel and somebody accosted him and tried to preach to him, and he was like, bro, I really do not care about any of this. Like, I'm no longer in a place where I'm like, I don't believe there is a God. I do not care. If there is a God, good for him. If there isn't, good for him. Like, I truly do not care. It's like, are you not afraid of hell? And it's like, no, like, even if hell is real, like that's where all the cool people will be.
I feel like that's why a lot of people do not want to question things. Because they're afraid of going to hell, and that fear has been instilled into you from a very young age.
Yes.
It's going to be very difficult to let go of a fear because like I was just thinking about my childhood as well, and I didn't. My family, they weren't really religious. We'd never really church, morning devotions, but I went to a school that was owned by Deeper Life members, and that kind of reflected
oh my God.
in their teachings, in everything. And I remember, like, gosh, and my grandpa, he's Muslim, and during Ramadan, they would tell us Ramadan meat because otherwise we're going to go to hell. And I'll still eat off, but I'll feel so because I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to hell.
Going to hell.
And I remember there was this because they were preaching against smoking, and mind you, I was like 7, 6, and they were preaching against smoking, and I remember going back home and telling my dad or begging my dad to please stop smoking, otherwise he's
oh my God, you go to hell.
I was crying so much because I was like, oh my gosh, my dad is going to go to hell. I was like, nah, you shouldn't do that to kids, to be honest, because
to children.
So, and sometimes we would watch these films, especially during Christmas, and
all those Mount Zion films.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, it was the scariest thing ever as a child.
Yes,
You know, like those like during Easter, I would watch films about Jesus getting nailed on the cross.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids are allowed to watch these films, but in Nigeria they don't really care. So
they don't really care. We watched them.
We're seeing all this. Oh, it was just so traumatizing. Or like
it was.
Like you said, those Mount Zion films where like I can't really remember, but
okay.
I remember watching a movie about abortion. So
yes,
cool.
They like to explore those themes.
Yeah, like I can only remember like glimpses. So we watched this in school, by the way. So she had an abortion. She was still in school. She was dating an older man. She had an abortion, and she almost lost her life. And then she actually did lose her life, kind of. And then she was able to redeem herself because like when she died, she was like, oh my gosh, and then God kind of showed her all the wrongdoings, and then she was allowed to go back on earth to kind of redeem herself. Like,
oh dear.
I'm not sure if that summary makes sense, but like I said, I only remember glimpses.
Yeah, I actually get the vibe. I know the kind of film that. Oh my god! every attempt.
But what was scary was they had like this. That was when Nollywood still had those weird animations. It was scary as a child. Why would they do that? Like, it's not acceptable, because that would give me like nightmares. I would be so scared. I would see like this face of a witch like in my dreams, and like it was the worst thing. It was the worst thing ever. Nah, that was nah. It's not okay, to be honest.
It's really not okay.
But as for heaven, I agree with you saying I don't even think it's a nice place to be in.
It's not.
Assuming even if it exists, I don't want to be in that space. But also to me, it's also like, what do you want to do? Why do you want to live forever? I don't understand.
Another angle like that doesn't. That's not something I'm interested in. I'm already tired.
Why would I want to live forever? What's the why? Because I'm always confused to why someone would want to. What is it that you want to do forever?
Yes, what do you want to do? What's the appeal? What is keeping you here?
Yeah, like there's nothing to look forward to. You're just there.
At all.
The way I imagine it, let's talk about how we imagine heaven. The way I imagine is wearing like long white robe, and then every morning we have to like sing morning praises. It's like those books we were given, those book of Bible stories. I think that's what they are called.
Yes.
So, like they have pictures of humans playing with wild animals, and it's I kind of like imagine the scenery to be like that, and everybody is just you're not allowed to really do much. You're just singing, praising God, and then eating your apples.
Yeah. I'm petting animals, playing with lions. Exactly.
That's how I imagine it. That's not life. Why would I want to live like that?
Didn't get like that's not fun at all. That sounds very like if I want to go to a petting zoo, I'll go to a petting zoo. Like that is not. I can't do that forever. What's that?
I can't even do that for 100 years. Where am I supposed to travel to? What's the fun? What gives your life a meaning? There's nothing to look forward to, because you're in a utopian world where everything is kind of
it's perfect.
Yeah, like what problems are there to solve? You're just chilling.
there's no point to live in that kind of like utopia. There's no point. Like, nah, please count me out. I have zero interest.
I would rather live my life here and go to hell, but at least I have lived. As opposed to kind of not living my life here and then going to heaven where it's even worse.
No.
Yeah, I'm not down for that, really. But how about...
Okay.
Oh, no, you wanted to say something.
I hope you don't forget what you're about to ask. Okay, so I wanted to say that, like, that's another thing, another reason why I have personal beef against heaven is that it keeps a lot of people from, like, living their life to their fullest potential, because it makes people accept all kinds of, like, what's the word? All kinds of
there's this belief that, we suffer here on earth, but that's to enjoy later in heaven. You kind of accept every bad thing. You don't.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes. You don't question things. You don't have this need to, like, fight against injustice or anything, because you just like, oh, let me just enjoy it. My reward is waiting for me in heaven. No matter how much I suffer here, no matter how poor I am, no matter how terrible the economic state of the country is, let me just endure it because my reward is in heaven. And even in the midst of that suffering, in the midst of this oppressive system, you're still expected to show so much devotion, because apparently sometimes it's a test that is testing your faith, and you just have to endure. How long do you endure? There is no end to the suffering. You just keep going and keep hoping. I don't like what it does.
I'm glad you mentioned that. All those tests that you have to apparently go through to prove that, your faith is still kind of very strong.
Yes.
It's just, it's kind of a sad life to live if you think about it, because, like, I know a lot of people in that situation where they just don't, how do I say, they just accept the injustice, like you said. They don't.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they don't really want to. It's going to be a thing of God is going to help me deal with him, or
of course
sometimes it becomes a thing of, oh, I'll just continue praying for the person doing the injustice.
Yes, God will. Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Older women in relationships, our parents' generation, that's the kind of mindset they have. They stay in these abusive relationships, and then they are told to just keep praying, and eventually God
just keep praying. God will change him.
And it's very sad, because as from an atheist perspective, you don't really get to live your life. You're kind of stuck in this relationship until that person dies.
Yes.
And then that's the life. There's no heaven waiting for you.
There's no, yes, like you just wasted your life.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about juju. So since we're talking about the fear of hell, let's also talk about the fear of juju. Was that something you believed in? Because that is something very essential in the Nigerian setting. There has to be something you are afraid of, rather. Someone going to protect you. So I mean, otherwise you wouldn't need any protection. So there has to be something that instills that fear. So you feel the need that you need to be from wherever going. All the evil involved. Yeah.
Well, I do not believe in juju. In fact, oh my God, I find it funny. I find the Christian aversion to Satanism, because like all of that to them is a brand of Satanism. Anything that doesn't align with the Christian doctrine is from the devil, and so it's Satanist. I find this constant fear very amusing, because you remember there was this. Okay, I'm not sure if you should know, because you were on the internet, and you know when Illuminati was a big thing.
Oh my gosh!
They were
accusing my queen.
And I feel like this belief in juju and Satanism or whatever it's something that they use to like tie people down. It's what they use to like keep them devoted. It's like, see, this the devil is waiting for you. Just sleep. Just lose faith for a second that you are in danger. And like, don't listen to secular music, because I had that stage too. Like, I couldn't listen to. And I love songs. I love songs across genres. Like, I love different kind of music. What do you mean I have to listen to Christian music? Please.
Yeah.
It was tough. And I'm so glad I moved out of that. Because like, please, what do you mean? People are singing. Like, at some point, it's actually tiring when you're always singing about God. And I don't know if we'll have time, but like, another thing that I like to like, think about or talk about when I'm criticizing religion is this, like, it's almost like they romanticize their creator, but it's not in the sense of, romanticize your life or like so you enjoy it more. No, it's like almost as if they're in a romantic relationship with God, but like that's a different story. But yeah, so Juju, I do not had interactions with people. You're right, like it's a big fear. And when I talk about, I do not believe in any of this, I'm not a Christian, and they're like, what if somebody tries to harm you or whatever? I was like, I do not believe that people have the capacity to harm me using supernatural means. Like, you would try to hurt me physically, I would see you, or you would poison me or whatever. Like, that's you being you. That's just humans being shitty humans. Like, I don't believe that they're going to take some power from God knows where and try to like work against me spiritually. And like, it's something that is still a big part of my life to an extent, because like my mother still calls me and it's like, be careful how you relate with certain people. You don't know the people that are after your glory. And I'm like, wait, is that after my glory? Let them just come and shoot me. I cannot, like, of course I would like be distrustful of people to an extent, because like not everybody has like your not everybody has good intentions towards you. But like, yes, but like that's just like humans being humans. I see this as a
supernaturally.
Yeah. So like I really do, and I find it amusing when they have these talks like, something, and there's always one uncle or one auntie or one grandma in the village that's after you and walking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I just find the entire thing amusing. It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh so much.
But you know, whenever I'm having this conversation, there's always someone that is like, you don't even know anything. Because you came here when you were so young.
My God.
Better be careful. In fact, one day so and so happened, and I see it with my own eyes.
Of course. I know. I've heard all these stories. Like, I'm right here in Nigeria. They always say witches flying, birds turning into human beings, and snakes turning into. And it's so funny how they're always women. Always women. Yeah.
But
it's the women that are turning into
kind
snakes.
Of like society, it's in every. There's no society that I can think of. It's always women. Women are always.
It's always women
accused of witches.
Witches.
Not.
I just see it as one of the tools that church uses to just keep people enslaved.
Yeah.
You're always afraid. And that's another thing. Speaking of like how Christianity like keeps people from living their life to their full potential, it's like because you're always afraid. Exactly. Like I am afraid to an extent because I am a woman in a patriarchal society. Like that's a different brand of fear. But like looking constantly over my shoulder, over stuff, because like at least I have like a fear of like a physical harm, but you're afraid of a supernatural harm. So like you could just be attacked at any time. You have dreams and you wake up and you start running to the church because like it's a nightmare. It's your subconscious playing games on you. Rest, but no, you automatically believe. And then this is the thing. Like no matter what misfortune happens, you can never like attribute it to circumstances or just like natural. No, someone somewhere is working against you. That's why you felt ill. Someone somewhere is working against you. That's why you failed your exam. Like, it absolves people from accountability because there's always the devil in the corner working against them. That's the reason why things go wrong in their life. And I don't know, I feel like juju is such a cop-out because it's so easy to say juju. Who's going to prove it?
Yeah.
Who is going to prove that there's no juju? There's definitely juju. That's why your life is a mess. But no, it's you.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. I kind of feel for them, to be honest, because for me, it's very liberating being an atheist. One, that you don't have that fear. You don't constantly have to look back, or how do I even say it? you sure don't have that fear. And
yeah, you don't.
Being, you know, like being being religious rather, that you're constantly in a position where you feel like I need to pray, I need to you know, protect myself, shield myself from evil.
Yeah.
And once I stop, these bad things will start happening to me. Or like it's just isn't that exhausting?
It's exhausting. It's draining.
When you now say you're an atheist, when you tell someone like that you're an atheist, because they don't want to associate with you. They don't want to. They don't want to have anything to do with you. Because
you're automatically on the devil's side.
Exactly. So yeah,
it's actually sad. Like if you look at it that way, it's actually sad that you have to live your life like this. Like, oh my God, no, no, so draining.
Yeah, and talking about how you know, it's kind of liberating being an atheist. Tell me about the things you feel like that kind of put a weight on your shoulders being religious, that you kind of feel, you know, you are able to live it as an atheist.
Okay. Oh my God, there's so many things to consider. One of them is like my relationship with sexuality. That's one of that. That's something that like was a weight that was on my shoulder, because like as a Christian, you cannot explore or consider the fact that like apart from like topics like masturbation or like having sex, like same-sex attraction or like considering your gender identity, like those are things that are alien to religious doctrine. And it's like, and the Bible is also saying whatever it's saying about homosexuality. So like it's something that I never really like considered. Like no matter what like urges or thoughts I had about like people of the same sex or whatever, like I just put it down to like an anomaly, or I just felt that like, oh, I like them, I just want to be friends with them. But no, there were romantic intentions there, but like I never explored that. And so that's one thing I'm grateful for. Like religion really like, it just made me very blind to how wide the world is and how like fun and free in it can be to like explore all aspects of sexuality. Another thing is dressing, of course. Because like growing up in church, we had the stage of, I feel like now the church is more liberal, because as you said, they need something to keep. But then can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So of course, it's not all denominations, because I don't know much about Deeper Life now. Maybe they've changed, maybe they've modernized, but then you had to wear the very long skirts, and you couldn't make your hair with like attachments and like human hair extension, makeup, no earrings. But like it wasn't that strict in my own church, but there was always like you can't wear trousers.
Yeah.
And I remember even when I started wearing trousers and I was still in church, because then it's like my elder sister, you know how like when you grow up with older siblings and you get influenced by them. So like when my elder sister started wearing trousers, all of us started wearing trousers. And I remember running into women from the church, like out in the wild. Maybe I'm running errands and I see them and they're like, oh, you're wearing trousers. And it was a thing. It was always a thing. And so like dressing, because I love fashion, and like I always like to like try new things. And in the church, you just have to like wear skirts and gown and tie your hair and do whatever. So that's another thing that I'm grateful for. Like I do not give any fucks what's happening. Like
be yourself unapologetically.
Be yourself unapologetically. Yeah. So sexuality, dressing, what else? Of course, the fear of hell. Like I don't care what's happening. I can live my life. And this is like, if I'm getting personal right now, oh my God, like if I consider the things people expect of me when I say I'm an atheist, like, oh, you're an atheist, you don't, because there's this narrative where, oh, people choose atheism because they want to be free to sin. Oh my God. I mean, things that people
is that something you like?
No, like it's something I find amusing. Oh my God. I find it amusing because see, when they like, of course, like when the older generation, when they say, oh, the youth want to say, they're looking at, oh, we want to go clubbing, because that was one of the things when we were growing up, like, oh, people that are going clubbing, people that are doing this, people that are smoking, people are drinking, they're committing sins and whatever. And it's so funny because like, I know Christians who commit those sins.
Yeah.
And they call them sins. Me, I just see them as lifestyle choices. And I don't do any of them. I'm not a club person. That's not my scene. I'm not like I hardly drink. I haven't drank in like 2 years now because like I hardly ever have the opportunity to take alcohol, and I don't really like it. I actually don't like it's just there, and it's like I have the opportunity. Like if I want, I can just step out now and get wine or get vodka or get whatever. Like I have these options, but they're just not for me. Yeah. But you are there and you are living your life, or this like you're like, oh, I can't do that, and you are tempted constantly. And you are the Christian. I'm the atheist. I don't face this.
That's one interesting thing. It doesn't matter what they do. If you guys could be doing the same things, but as long as one identifies as a Christian, the other as an Christian is automatically the best.
Automatically. So, that's something I'm grateful for. Like this to always be on watch for like what is a sin and what is not, and to face temptations. Like I don't care if I want to do something, I do it. I don't care whether oh my God, see a sin or what will Jesus do?
Yeah, for me,
I don't have to consider that.
One of my favorite moments is when I have experiences. Or when let me say when I'm having a conversation with someone who's religious, and they say even in the Bible, I can automatically say, I don't care about the Bible. Just stop there. I don't care. It's to me, it just makes me feel, I just feel so free. I don't care.
Yes.
I'm also interested in having a conversation with you with Bible in that book. You're going to facts.
The source of reference.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm not interested. So I shut it down immediately.
Shut it down.
What's in your Bible? Okay, in the Bible, can you come? Okay, that's nice. That's cool. I don't care.
Yeah, that's your business though. Yeah, that's another thing that I like. I like that. And I also like that I'm free from all these expectations because like they need to attend services and all of that. Like my Sundays, I tell people that like there's no difference between every day of like, normally it's like, oh, Sunday, day of rest. Like you have this, you have to be in church. Like the only thing that like makes my days different from your other are like, do I have classes or not? Do I have work to do or not? Like I don't consider all of these engagements. I do not have, oh my God, I missed service today. Oh my God, they're going to ask me questions. Like, that's not like I have no business in that. And I love the fact that like I cannot remember the last time I stepped foot in a church because like what am I doing? What am I going to do there? What's going to happen? I make jokes about that. I say I feel like next time I step foot into a church, I'm going to catch fire. I'm going to explode.
You're going to be the witch on display.
Oh no, there are so many aspects of my life that when I consider how different things would be if I was a Christian, I just like become so grateful. Like, I do not live in fear of some elusive being trying to like pass judgment on me one day, or live in fear of how, there's so much fear. Christianity is rooted in so much fear, and I'm happy to be free of it.
So, I mean, we're adults now. Our parents are already disappointed in us.
Yes.
But, what advice would you give to someone who's not in that position, in the sense of they are still young, still living with their parents, kind of in a stage where they can't be very vocal about who they are?
Yeah. I feel like safety is very important because from personal experience and even like experiences of people around me, as much as Christianity or religion rather professes peace, there's so much hate for anyone who speaks out against like whatever it is that they stand for. So like for young people who are still dependent on their parents, I truly believe that the safest option is the best option. If you have to pretend, because I had moments where I had to pretend, and the only time when I truly like gave up on like pretending was when I became financially independent and like knew that like I'm sorting out my stuff on my own. No one is holding me back and I make decisions. So if you're not there yet, make the safe choice. As much as you outwardly, and it may seem very exhausting. It seems exhausting to like profess your faith, but know deep inside that you don't believe it. But you have to like look out for your safety. If you have the option to escape, if you have the option to make choices for yourself, free of any like violent repercussions, make them. But right there, just know deep within you, like continue the work of deconstruction.
Yeah.
Internally, like personally, just now, okay, these things are not true. I shouldn't have to live my life in fear, but do what you can to be safe and work towards, as much as it's within your power, work towards gaining independence. Because I feel like once you are no longer beholden to any like external power or like anybody that's holding things against you, like they are responsible for your feeding, for your shelter, for everything basic that you need to exist and like live. Once they're in a position of power and like they expect you to have these beliefs, like it's difficult to rebel, so to speak. It's difficult to rebel, but if you have the opportunity, rebel. If you don't, just try to stay true to yourself as much as you can while remaining under their control. Because it's difficult. It's easy to say, oh, you should be true to yourself and like be vocal, but like not everybody has that privilege. Because I feel like it's a privilege to be able to rebel without any serious repercussions.
Yeah. No, I think I don't even know how things would have been for me if I had grown up in Nigeria, because like my parents were not that religious, but the school I was attending, like I said, they were owned by Deeper Life members. I don't know, like it's going to be, maybe I would have turned out to be I think I would have
definitely. Yeah, you wouldn't be the you now. Like it would be somewhat different because.
Yeah, but that's really great advice that you just dished out, because safety should be the priority, should be number one.
Yeah,
you're not going to be dependent on your parents forever.
That's it. You will not. And like, even if, as much as I always like, I am a very family oriented person, but then when I say things and people are like, oh, they assume that like the only family is the one you're born into. I'm a big fan of found family. I'm a big fan of like finding community with people outside of your blood relatives. So fine, family is important, but if family is going to be the reason why you live miserably, like find community with other people. Life can still be worthwhile. Definitely. So
yeah. And also, I would also say start disappointing your parents very early. Very early on.
Normalize it.
Don't let it be a situation where it seems like one day you just completely dish it out small.
Can I add to that? That's the thing. I feel like that's the beauty of discovering these lies early on, because you have enough time to like it's not an outward, like it's not like a major rebellion, as you said. Like you don't just wake up one day and start like saying, oh, everything people have been saying is bullshit. No, it starts with little things.
It's gradual.
It's gradual. And then one day, and they start getting used to it, that one day you're like, yeah, in fact, this one too, I'm not interested anymore. Oh my God. It's hard. Nigerians are very, oh no. Yeah. I don't know.
Religious people. Is there anything
annoying.
Love to rant about?
Oh my God, there are many things I would love to rant about, Morgan. You cannot give me a platform to rant. I always have something to complain about. But since we're talking about religion and atheism, I want to like rant about so-called feminists. I don't know, I may sound snobbish, but I'm sorry. I blink. I think I look, I give people the called look when they're Christian. I'm talking about Christianity in particular because like that's
Christian
where
feminist, religious feminist.
Yeah, religious feminist. Like, and I look at you like, how does that work? Like, it seems like what's that figure of speech? Is it an oxymoron?
Yeah, oxymoron.
It seems like it's a contradiction. And then you speak with them, and somehow they always make excuses for the oppressive beliefs that they seem to uphold. And I don't know, like I find it very irritating because you claim to believe in this movement that preaches freedom from all sort of oppression.
Hello, Jesus is a feminist.
Oh my God, when they do that and they start talking about Mary Magdalene, when they were about to stone her, and it was like, he who has not committed sin or whatever, they start to cast the stone. But they talk about how who was this other woman that poured alabaster oil and used it to wash Jesus' feet. Like they cite this example, they even cite the woman with the issue of blood, and I'm like, are you okay? It's almost as if they try to rewrite the narrative. They try to rewrite the Bible to fit whatever narrative that they believe that Jesus was a feminist. And oh my God, I could go on and on about this, but it's like
go on and on, girl.
The Bible is this book, right? It's this book, and you have the Old Testament and you have the New Testament, and then you claim that you are a Christian because you are Christ-like and you only follow the gospel of Christ, and you only you base your life on His preaching.
Yeah.
Then why are the rest of the books in the Bible relevant? Because there's so much terrible. Oh my God. Everything wrong with the world starts from that useless book. We see cases of rape, we see genocide, we see senseless murders. We see so many wrongs being done in the name of being God's chosen people and whatever. And you see women constantly oppressed. You see women being treated as nothing. You see the useless rules in Exodus. It doesn't even get into the Deuteronomy, where they talk about how to treat women when they're on their period and how they shouldn't be allowed into the temple with some clean.
Yeah.
All these things out, and you tell me, well, that was the Old Testament. But then when it's fitting, when it's acceptable, you can count on the Old Testament to justify whatever useless beliefs. Please don't play with me.
Yeah.
Please don't try to insult my intelligence. Like I do not, it upsets me. Like that peculiar brand of feminism where it's like, Christian feminism. No, I don't. I'm sorry. It pisses me off so much. They make me so angry because like you're a woman and I'm willing to give you so much grace, but
and especially
you cannot
as a feminist,
be serious. You have to be fucking for.
Sorry, but I feel like especially as a feminist, these are topics you've already kind of stumbled upon, dealt with, have read about, and kind of learned to deconstruct. But when religion is now brought into
it,
you now try to make excuses. You now try to
excuses.
Like it's like. I don't see that. I don't see that. But that's not how it works, unfortunately. And the reason I even mentioned the Jesus is a feminist or was a feminist, is the fact that I know someone sent me a book titled Jesus is a Feminist.
Yeah, someone sent it to me too.
Yeah, like I just see, just because he did nice things,
thank you,
doesn't make him a feminist.
Thank you.
He was somehow a decent human.
Yeah.
He's a feminist. I feel like, was it really advocating for women or was it just nice?
Never.
There's a difference. So when he's portrayed as a feminist, I get irritated and confused because why exactly is a feminist? I mean, if a man opens the door for me, I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, you're a feminist. Why?
Feminist. Or if someone is harassing you on the street and then the man stands up for you and it's like, oh my God, he saved me, he's a feminist. What? No, that's a different thing to do.
Or I almost get killed and someone is like, and the man says, no,
don't kill her.
Oh, wow, what a feminist.
But then this is the thing. Okay, you're on TikTok. You see women fall for this nonsense.
Yes. Oh my God.
Basic, and then they comment, they're like, oh my God, protect this man. He's one of the good ones. Clinical. And I'm like, I don't know.
The bar is so low. The bar is really, really low.
And it makes me sick. It makes me so upset. No, I can't. I have very little patience for Christian feminists. Like, please don't do that. Don't do that, please.
I think it's also difficult for them to let go of what they've known for so long. I mean, that's the foundation of everything. You know, that's what gives their life a meaning. They don't know anything else. That is probably one of the oldest things they were introduced to. So it's very difficult to let that go. But like I said, I think we as feminists, we are also constantly unlearning, learning something new. And I feel like you should be brave enough to also, how do I even put it? You should be brave enough to delve into certain aspects that might...
no matter how uncomfortable. Yes. You need to be brave enough. You need to be like, I stand for this. I have to go all in, all or nothing. You can't play these games where you have one foot in, one foot out. Like, you are pro feminism today, and then you're like, oh, some kinds of oppressions are not really oppression, and you try to make excuses. Like, it ridicules what you claim to stand for. Like, it goes against everything you claim to believe in. And I feel like you're not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
So as you said, you have to be brave. Yeah, and many people are not brave. People are afraid.
It's not difficult. It's not difficult. I feel like, for some people it's easier. For others, it takes time. Or I would definitely encourage more women to be brave enough to embrace certain aspects that might make them uncomfortable. I mean, it doesn't hurt to at least put a step forward when it comes to that. So it was really nice. It was really nice. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2 hours. We talked for almost 2 hours now.
I don't care. I could
but I feel it was going to be long because whenever we talk, we talk,
Yeah.
We just chat.
We talk.
we talk so much. Because it still feels like we haven't even dived into so many aspects.
like we're still touching the surface.
But I think we have to stop here, otherwise it's going to get too long. But I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I mean, I also learned a lot about you that I actually it's very difficult for me to imagine you being religious.
Yes. when people meet oh my God, okay. I used to preach on the streets.
What?
I used to. Oh my God! I used to like. This thing, evangelism. I used to say, oh my God! I think of it and it's like, oh my God,
are you serious?
All sorts of things, and it's so crazy. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why my mother still holds out hope that like one day I would like just say, oh yeah, it's been a phase, and like I'm back, because like I was so into it. But like I tried to make her understand, like I wasn't being honest with myself. Like this was a performance.
Yeah,
I am a performer. I was
like you said, you were overcompensating because of the fear that was instilled in you. So yeah, but I mean, it's just shocking to me because I did not get to see that aspect. I knew, of course, like were religious, but I just did not know how much religious were. So it's just
now you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still had a lot of fun. It was really fun. Like I said, I got to know that aspect of you, that part of you. So yeah,
this was really fun. I had fun too.
That's it for today. So
okay,
bye.
bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Please subscribe up on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and other places podcasts are available. Then check out the show notes for links you may find useful, including our Discord server. Would love to have you there. Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.